Chosen one, listen closely. This is not an ordinary message. This is a divine recall, a moment written in the blueprint of heaven, arriving right on time for you. You may not realize it yet, but your name has been spoken in the courts of the Spirit. Your story is about to circle back in a way that will silence every whisper, every doubt, and every false prophecy ever spoken against you. For too long, you have been in the background, misunderstood, underestimated, hidden in plain sight. You've watched others rise while you were being refined. You've been through nights that stretched longer than they should have, through prayers that seemed unanswered, and seasons that made you question if God forgot your name. But He didn't. He was shaping something sacred, not for the crowd, but for the appointed time. And that time is now. Heaven is calling your name again, not as a reminder of your past, but as an announcement of your comeback. What was buried will resurrect. What was lost will be restored. The same mouths that once mocked you will speak your testimony. The same family that turned away will watch divine vindication unfold right before their eyes. Chosen one, this isn't just recovery, this is revelation in motion. Your life is about to display what it means when God's hand cannot be hidden. You were never behind. You were being positioned. Every detour, every delay, every disappointment, it was divine choreography. The spotlight you thought you lost wasn't stolen, it was reserved. And now, heaven's clock strikes alignment. The same God who hid you is now unveiling you. But not just to the world, to your family. The ones who doubted you most will soon witness your divine elevation. They will see the grace that never left you, the oil that never stopped flowing, and the faith that refused to die even when everything else did. This message is your confirmation. Your comeback isn't about revenge, it's about revelation. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving God right. So take a breath. Feel the weight lifting even now. You are standing at the edge of manifestation and heaven is whispering, "Watch how I make this right." What comes next will explain every silent season of your life. The pattern was never punishment, it was prophecy. Chosen one. Before anything else, you must understand this message is not born of imagination, nor is it built from wishful thinking. This is a divine release. What you are hearing now is heaven's reminder that your steps have never been random. Every moment you endured was written in the ancient archives of God's design. The Spirit has been watching over you, guiding your path even when you felt lost. You thought you were wandering, but you were walking through a divine curriculum. Every heartbreak, every closed door, every silent night was a lesson meant to build spiritual muscle for the season that is now arriving. And the one who sent you here, He has not forgotten the covenant spoken over your life. He remembers the moment you said, "Use me, Lord, even if it costs me everything." He remembers the tears that fell in rooms no one saw. He remembers the hours you spent questioning your worth, unaware that heaven was recording every sigh as a seed. Now, the soil of your story has ripened, and the same divine hands that allowed your hiddenness are preparing your reappearance. This is not coincidence. This is command. Heaven's order has been issued. Restore the one I hid. Exalt the one I refined. Understand this, you were not being punished. You were being purified. You were not delayed. You were being developed. God was not silent because He forgot. He was silent because He was writing. The author of your destiny was scripting a scene that could only unfold once you were strong enough to stand without needing validation. Now, that time has come. This is why your spirit feels restless lately. Why certain people are suddenly being removed from your path. Why your heart is remembering old promises as if they were spoken yesterday. It's because the spiritual clock has struck a new hour. The mantle on your life, the divine assignment that once seemed dormant, is being activated again. Chosen one. This message comes from the same voice that once called Moses out of the desert, the same breath that anointed David while he was still in the field, the same hand that raised Joseph from the prison to the palace. You are not just hearing words, you are hearing alignment. You are being summoned into remembrance, the remembrance of who you are, whose you are, and what you carry. You are the answer to a problem your bloodline could never solve. You are the redemption of generations who could not finish their mission. And now, the time has come for you to be seen not for what you've suffered, but for what survived inside you. This is not just another message, this is the confirmation you prayed for in silence. Heaven is clearing the stage. The Spirit is saying, "Now they will see why I kept you hidden." Your story is about to become the evidence of divine precision. You were not forgotten. You were being prepared to remind the world what God can still do through one willing heart. And this is where the prophecy begins to unfold. The shift that's been stirring beneath your daily routine, the quiet pull in your chest, you can't quite explain. It's not random. It's the echo of heaven opening the next chapter of your life. The divine comeback isn't a theory. It's already in motion. You are standing in the space between recognition and revelation, and everything that once seemed still is about to move. For months, perhaps years, you've felt an invisible turning inside you. Some nights, it felt like pressure. Other nights, like holy fire. You woke up feeling watched by destiny itself. That's because heaven's timeline was aligning around you, waiting for one command. Now, that word has been spoken. The spiritual gates that once locked you in delay have been opened. A divine verdict has been issued in your favor. You were never out of time. You were being synchronized with eternity. Soon, what has been whispered in the spirit will become visible in the natural. The prophecy says, "Those who were blind to your worth will bear witness to your rising." It won't come as thunder or chaos, it will come as alignment. The right doors will swing open with no effort. Opportunities will seem to find you instead of you chasing them. Conversations that were once impossible will suddenly unfold with ease. But make no mistake, this is not luck. This is divine orchestration. The delay was a disguise. It hid you from premature exposure. Now revelation will come not just to you, but through you. You will notice the difference first in the small things. People treating you differently without understanding why. Situations that used to drain you will suddenly dissolve. Environments that once felt heavy will start releasing you. The spiritual fog is lifting, and you'll sense clarity where confusion once reigned. This is the mark of prophetic acceleration, where what used to take years will now happen in weeks. What used to feel impossible will unfold effortlessly. You will not need to force or fight. Grace will go before you. And yes, your family will notice. The same faces that doubted your purpose will watch a peace descend over your life they cannot explain. They'll sense something holy about your silence, something powerful about your calm. Your presence alone will begin to speak louder than explanations ever could. There will be conversations whispered about you. Something about them changed. They won't know how to name it, but heaven will know. It's the glow of divine reversal. For a long time, you carried burdens you didn't deserve. You prayed for breakthrough, but God gave you endurance. You asked for answers, but He gave you discernment. Every unanswered prayer became a building block for the season you're walking into. Because what's coming is not just restoration, it's revelation through recognition. You will become the living fulfillment of a promise made before your birth, that one would rise in your family line to break the silence, to prove that faith never dies in vain. You are that one. And so, the prophecy stands. What was taken will return multiplied. What was mocked will be magnified. What was buried will bloom again. Heaven's decree is clear. You will not have to announce your comeback. The fruit of it will announce you. Every closed door, every betrayal, every lonely night has been redeemed into momentum. The pain was the preparation, and the silence was the setup. Now comes the unveiling. The curtain between the unseen and the seen is being lifted. Destiny has been waiting for this alignment, the day when your obedience meets God's timing. And as this new season opens, your spirit will feel it before your eyes see it. You'll feel the divine wind shift behind you, the invisible hand pushing you forward, the inner knowing that whispers, "It's time." So walk gently but boldly. The same God who authored your valley is now unveiling your mountain. And those who once turned away will soon look upon you and say, "Surely, the hand of God has been here all along." This is not imagination. It's manifestation. This is not the end of your story. It's the moment heaven turns the page. Everything you've endured, every tear, every silence, it was never wasted. The divine comeback that's unfolding now isn't simply about your name being redeemed in the eyes of others. It's about the spiritual law of divine order being restored in your life. What looks like vindication on the surface is actually the correction of imbalance in the unseen realms. There is a rhythm to heaven, a pulse that moves through time like breath through lungs. When you were hidden, that rhythm was pulling you back like a bowstring. It had to, because to be launched forward, you first had to be drawn backward. Every season of stillness was the tightening of that string. Every disappointment was tension preparing for divine propulsion. And now, the release. That's what you're feeling, the sacred tension breaking. The pressure was never punishment. It was alignment. You weren't falling apart. You were being stretched to fit the dimension of what's coming. Understand this deeply. Divine timing isn't about waiting for circumstances to look right. It's about you becoming right for what God already prepared. There were blessings you couldn't hold back then because your character hadn't caught up with your calling. You had to be purified of the need to prove yourself, stripped of validation, emptied of ego, so that when your season came, you wouldn't sabotage it. That's the meaning behind the isolation you hated. God separated you not to shame you, but to sanctify you. He had to detox you from the noise, the comparisons, the projections, the family patterns that weren't yours to carry. He took you through betrayal not to break your trust, but to teach you who deserved access. Now, the refinement reveals its reward. Every storm you survived washed away a version of you that couldn't walk in this new season. The fire you felt wasn't meant to burn you. It was meant to brand you with divine authenticity. The ashes you thought were the end were the soil for new creation. The spiritual meaning behind your comeback is this. It was never about going back to who you were. It was about becoming who you truly are. And this is the paradox of divine transformation. Before God exalts you, He first exposes you to yourself. That's why the silence was loud. That's why the loneliness hurt. You weren't being punished. You were being shown your own reflection, not through the mirror of the world, but through the eyes of heaven. You had to learn to recognize your worth apart from applause. You had to find identity apart from attention. You had to love your calling even when no one clapped. That was the test. And you passed it. You didn't give up when it made no sense. You didn't curse God when nothing moved. You stayed faithful in the in-between. That is what heaven rewards, not perfection, but endurance. You see, the divine doesn't just reward success, it rewards surrender. The more you yielded, the more you became capable of carrying weight in the spirit. And now, your life is a vessel ready to pour. But there's something deeper still, a sacred reversal happening beneath the surface. The same energy that once resisted you is now required to honor you. Every word spoken against your destiny has become fertilizer for the manifestation of it. The mockery made you magnetic. The rejection sharpened your resonance. That is divine irony. That is spiritual symmetry. That is how God writes justice into time. And when your family witnesses your rise, they will not just see success, they will feel conviction, because your life will become a sermon without words. Your peace will speak louder than their opinions. Your consistency will preach louder than their disbelief. And the glory upon you will humble even those who never apologized. You have stepped into a prophetic principle. When you align with divine timing, no resistance can hold you. Every delay becomes a doorway. Every wound becomes wisdom. Every loss becomes leverage in the hands of God. This is why the spiritual world reveres balance. What was once taken from you unjustly must now be returned divinely. Not just material blessings, but joy, time, confidence, clarity, and sacred rest. You are entering a cycle of restoration that will feel like déjà vu, only this time you'll recognize it as destiny fulfilled, not a loop of pain. So breathe. This is not a dream. You're awakening into prophecy. The divine comeback isn't just your return to visibility, it's the earth witnessing the return of God's justice through your life. You are not the center of the story. You are the vessel through which the author reveals his faithfulness. And as this truth settles in your soul, you'll feel it, the calm after centuries of storm. You'll realize that everything had purpose. Even the waiting was sacred. You've already started feeling it, haven't you? That subtle shift in the air around you. The silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels charged, alive, almost humming. That's not your imagination. That's confirmation. Heaven always sends signals before manifestation. The first sign will be in your spirit. You'll notice a strange calm settling inside you, not the kind that comes from having everything figured out, but the kind that whispers, "It's handled." The anxiety that once made your chest tight will begin to fade for no logical reason. You'll look around and realize the same circumstances that used to crush you can no longer move you. That's how you'll know you've stepped into divine alignment, peace where panic used to live. The second sign will be synchronicity. Numbers, names, dreams, songs, they'll begin to echo the same message from different directions. You'll hear phrases like full circle, rebirth, restoration appearing in random places, yet feeling aimed straight at you. Don't dismiss it. Heaven speaks through repetition when it wants you to pay attention. The third sign will appear through people. Some faces from your past may reappear, not to reopen old wounds, but to witness your transformation. Others will exit suddenly, as if pulled away by unseen hands. This isn't loss, it's divine editing. God is rearranging your relationships so your circle matches your next chapter. Watch carefully. The ones who remain are part of the promise. The fourth sign will be acceleration. Delays that once lingered will break overnight. Emails you forgot about, opportunities you thought closed, ideas that once seemed impossible suddenly, they'll move with supernatural speed. You won't have to chase. Things will begin to find you. It will almost feel unfair, but that's how grace operates when it's your appointed hour. The fifth sign will manifest in your body. You'll feel surges of energy at random moments, goosebumps for no reason, warmth in your chest, tears that rise without sadness. These are not coincidences. They're confirmations. Your vessel is responding to higher frequencies, adjusting to the vibration of answered prayer. The human shell trembles when heaven draws near. And finally, the sixth sign: dreams will return. For some time, your nights may have felt heavy or silent. But as this prophecy unfolds, visions will awaken again. You'll dream of light breaking through clouds, of family gatherings, of doors opening, of being seen. Don't overlook them. The dream world is heaven's rehearsal stage, where God shows you what's already written before it appears. These are not omens, they are invitations to awareness. The signs are heaven's way of saying, stay awake, the promise is at the door. Meant. So when you start noticing these shifts, the peace, the synchronicities, the returning faces, the sudden momentum, the physical tingling, the vivid dreams, don't panic. Smile. Whisper thank you. The spiritual becomes visible when gratitude becomes your language. Every sign is a love note from the divine, reminding you that you are not forgotten, not abandoned, not overlooked. You are being announced slowly, softly, undeniably. What comes next may not look like fireworks, but like quiet order, like puzzle pieces finally locking into place. That's how destiny arrives, not with noise, but with knowing. You won't need confirmation from others anymore, because your spirit will already be echoing it. The prophecy isn't waiting for proof. You are the proof. But before the full light breaks, there will be shadows that test you. Don't be surprised when the atmosphere begins to resist your peace. It's a sign that breakthrough is near. Every divine elevation attracts tension, not to destroy you, but to measure what you've learned in the dark. The first challenge will be distraction. Suddenly, unnecessary noise will try to pull you back into old emotional cycles, arguments that don't matter, obligations that aren't yours, worries that belong to a version of you that no longer exists. The test will be this. Can you stay still when your spirit is provoked? Can you protect your peace as fiercely as you once fought for validation? The second challenge will be doubt. You may wake up one morning and feel nothing, no signs, no confirmation, no movement. You'll wonder if you imagined it all. That's when faith must become your vision. God often hides evidence to strengthen endurance. Remember, silence is not absence, it's observation. Heaven watches what you do when you hear nothing. The third challenge will come through family. The same people who will one day witness your comeback may first resist it. They'll question your change, misread your calm, even accuse you of arrogance. Don't retaliate. You're not here to convince them, you're here to show them. Love them through the misunderstanding, but never lower your frequency to fit their expectation. The fourth challenge will be spiritual fatigue. The closer you get to manifestation, the heavier it may feel. Energy waves, sleep disruptions, bursts of emotion, all normal. It's the pressure of new life forming through you. Your birthing purpose, and birth is always messy. When exhaustion comes, rest in grace. The same God who began the work will finish it. The fifth challenge will be illusion. Old patterns will reappear disguised as new opportunities, the same cycles wearing different faces. That's the enemy's favorite trick. Repetition with a new costume. Don't rush decisions. The right door won't need force. It will open with peace. The wrong one will glitter but drain your spirit. Choose by discernment, not desire. And finally, there will be the challenge of timing. You may see the vision before others do, feel the shift before they notice, sense the change while the world still looks unchanged. Waiting for others to catch up will test your patience. But remember, your responsibility is not to drag anyone into your destiny, only to walk in obedience. Those meant to align will meet you at the appointed hour. Every challenge hides instruction. Every tension conceals wisdom. The path of divine restoration isn't smooth because smooth roads don't shape warriors. You were chosen to master turbulence, not escape it. The turbulence reveals your training. So, when the noise rises again, when distraction, doubt, resistance, fatigue, illusion, and delay all try to re-enter, smile softly. Recognize them not as enemies, but as reminders that you're crossing thresholds invisible to the natural eye. Every storm you survive in silence earns you spiritual authority. Every test you pass without losing love increases your light. You're not back at the beginning, you're mastering the middle. Hold your ground. The darkness before dawn is not warning, it's confirmation. The weight you feel is proof that the door is moving. And when it opens, you'll realize the struggle was never proof of failure. It was proof of favor. Now that the prophecy has been unveiled and the tests identified, heaven releases the blueprint not of theory, but of action. Every divine promise requires human participation. Grace opens the door, but obedience walks through it. So listen closely. These next instructions are sacred keys. First, guard your atmosphere. Not everyone deserves access to your new frequency. You cannot carry the same energy that broke you into the season that's meant to build you. Limit conversations that drain your spirit. Protect your mornings. Speak life before the world can speak fear into you. Protect your nights. Disconnect from noise before you sleep. Your environment will decide your energy, and your energy will decide your elevation. Second, return to your altar. You know what that means. The place where you once met God in raw honesty, go back there. It doesn't have to be a literal space. It's that inner stillness where you felt divine presence without distraction. In this season, prayer is not performance. It's positioning. Don't pray for things, pray for readiness. The miracle is already written. Your prayer aligns you with its timing. Third, forgive deliberately. There are people who wronged you deeply. You've carried that ache like armor, thinking it protects you. But bitterness corrodes blessings. Forgiveness is not permission, it's purification. Release them, not because they deserve it, but because your destiny does. Every ounce of resentment takes up space meant for favor, so let it go, not for them, but for the next version of you waiting to breathe. Fourth, speak what you seek. Your words have always carried more power than you realized. In the unseen realms, language is currency. Speak life into your path daily. Say it even when you don't feel it. I am in divine alignment. I am protected. I am prepared. I am prospering in purpose. The vibration of truth summons manifestation faster than worry ever could. Heaven responds to faith's frequency, not fear's volume. Fifth, honor the preparation. You may feel impatient. The vision burns inside you, but parts of your world seem unmoved. Don't curse the waiting. Cultivate it. Make ready what's in your hands. Clean your space. Organize your finances. Write the plan. Finish what's half done. Movement attracts miracle. When God sees stewardship, He releases speed. Sixth, reconnect with gratitude. You're being positioned for abundance, but abundance cannot dwell where entitlement lives. Gratitude is the anchor of every rising soul. Thank Him for the lessons, not just the outcomes. Thank Him for the protection you didn't recognize as protection. Gratitude turns memory into momentum. Seventh, listen for instruction, not applause. Many will soon recognize your glow and call your name again. Stay humble. The same silence that trained you must remain your foundation. You are not returning for validation. You are returning as revelation. If they praise you, redirect it upward. If they misunderstand you, remain gentle. A vessel full of grace doesn't spill over argument, it overflows through example. Eighth, anoint your space with consistency. The divine doesn't respond to sporadic devotion. It responds to rhythm. Build a sacred routine, even 5 quiet minutes a day where you realign your energy. Whisper affirmations. Read sacred words. Sit in gratitude. Let heaven recognize your consistency. Frequency creates familiarity. Familiarity builds favor. And lastly, trust the speed of light, not the pace of sight. You won't always see the evidence right away, but light travels before sight receives it. That's faith, knowing the answer has already departed. Heaven, even if it hasn't yet reached your horizon. Keep walking as if it's done, because in the spiritual, it already is. These instructions aren't burdens. They're blueprints. Follow them, and you'll notice your spirit becoming lighter, your path clearer, your discernment sharper. You'll walk differently, not because of pride, but because peace has weight. Remember, Obedience is the sound heaven moves to. Every time you follow divine instruction without explanation, you echo the pattern of the saints before you, the Davids, the Esthers, the Josephs, ordinary souls who simply said, "Yes, Lord," and watched eternity bend around their obedience. So let your yes be loud again. Your actions are your altar now. Move with purpose, not panic. Because this next chapter won't be written by chance, it will be written by choice. Even as you step forward, remember this truth. The path of divine destiny is never walked alone. Protection has already been assigned to you. Before you even knew danger, heaven dispatched covering. The evidence of that protection is that you're still here, still breathing, still believing, still becoming. The unseen realm has been busy on your behalf. Angels have surrounded your movements, intercepting attacks you never saw coming. Some of the detours you called delays were actually shields in disguise. The friendships that ended abruptly, the job that didn't call back, the plans that collapsed last minute, each one was heaven whispering, "Not this way." You've been kept, even when you didn't feel kept. There were nights when darkness tried to settle too close, but it couldn't cross the perimeter of divine command. There's a mark upon your spirit that the enemy recognizes and fears, the seal of purpose. That seal isn't fragile, it's fire. And no curse, no gossip, no spiritual opposition can touch what carries heaven's flame. The storm may roar, but it cannot remove your roots. The same hand that allowed the shaking also anchored you. You were built for this era, not fragile clay, but tempered steel. The refining fire didn't destroy you, it proofed you. You are spiritually flame-tested. In moments when the fear tries to whisper again, pause and remember. You were chosen for visibility, not vulnerability. Every threat that seems to rise against you has already been neutralized by divine foreknowledge. God's protection doesn't always look like walls. Sometimes it looks like wisdom, the nudge to stay home, the sudden feeling to pray, the intuition to wait. These are not coincidences, they're codes of divine security. If you listen closely, you'll sense the protection, even in motion, the still, small voice guiding you through chaos, the inexplicable peace when others panic. That peace is proof. It's heaven's signature saying, "You are covered." And when you feel alone, remember, protection isn't always loud. It's quiet because confidence doesn't need to announce itself. The shield that guards you doesn't boast. It simply holds. So rest. Rest knowing that what's forming against you is already failing. Rest knowing your name is written in light, and darkness cannot pronounce it. Rest knowing that every unseen force working to delay you is now being dismantled by divine decree. Your steps are ordered, and your path is patrolled. Even if you walk through shadows, the light within you will expose the way forward. The promise was never that you'd avoid all battles, it was that you'd never fight them alone. You are being watched over, guided, guarded, not because of perfection, but because of purpose, and that purpose is sealed. So breathe again. Sleep in peace tonight. The same God who woke you this morning is the one who will fight for you before dawn. You don't have to prove your strength. Divine power already surrounds you like air. You're protected not just from harm, but from exhaustion, confusion, and despair. You are carried, held, and continually covered. It happens quietly at first. One morning you wake up, and the heaviness that used to greet you feels lighter. You look in the mirror and see peace instead of pressure. Your eyes don't carry the old ache anymore, they carry clarity. Something within you has shifted, not in theory, but in truth. That's transformation, not the sudden flash you expected, but the slow dawn of a soul restored. The same wounds that once bled now glow like sacred scars, proof that grace outlives pain. The same voice that once trembled with doubt now speaks with quiet authority. You're not who you were, and that's the miracle. When God restores, He doesn't return you to what you lost. He resurrects what was meant to live beyond it. Your comeback isn't a replay, it's a rebirth. The old season prepared your hands for the weight of this one. You know how to carry peace without needing attention, how to hold blessings without fear they'll vanish, how to love without losing yourself. And it begins to show. Your family, the ones who dismissed your journey, start to notice. They see the calm, the confidence, the unexplainable glow. They'll ask what changed. But you'll know. It wasn't luck, it was alignment. What they're seeing is the unveiling of what heaven finished long ago. In their eyes, Your life becomes contradiction. How could someone endure so much and still radiate so much light? They won't understand that it's not light from you, but light through you. The divine current running through your life will begin to heal even those who once hurt you. That's the beauty of fulfillment. It doesn't gloat, it glows. Soon, doors that once refused to open will swing wide. Conversations that used to exhaust you will end with peace. Provision will appear where there was only pressure. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with the rhythm of divine flow. You'll feel gratitude like oxygen. Simple moments will feel holy sunlight through curtains, the sound of laughter, the way your breath steadies when you remember how far you've come. That's fulfillment, not an event, but a constant awareness that everything painful once served a purpose. And in that awareness, you'll realize something profound. God never promised to make life easy. He promised to make you unshakable. What's fulfilled in you isn't just blessing, it's balance. The outer world will begin to mirror your inner peace. The chaos that used to surround you will dissolve because chaos cannot survive where order reigns. This transformation will not be loud, but it will be undeniable. It will be in the way you walk into rooms, calm, certain, radiant. It will be in the way you respond to conflict, not with reaction, but revelation. It will be in the way you speak, not trying to convince, just confirming truth through your very being. That's how divine fulfillment looks in human form, steady, humble, unstoppable. And the most beautiful part? You won't even crave recognition anymore. You'll understand that real elevation doesn't need announcement. What's yours will find you, because it already knows your frequency. You'll realize the real miracle wasn't that you survived, it's that you stayed soft while surviving. You refused to let the pain harden you. That's spiritual victory at its highest form. This is what the prophecy was leading to. Not the applause of men, but the approval of heaven. The moment when you stand in perfect peace, fully yourself, fully seen, fully free. This is your divine comeback, not just visible, but vibrational. The world will feel your return before it even understands it. You've crossed from surviving to shining, from waiting to walking, from hoping to happening. You are the prophecy fulfilled. Take a deep breath. Let the air fill your lungs, slow, deliberate, sacred. This is not the end of your story. It's the holy pause before the next miracle. You've walked through the wilderness and didn't lose your worship. You've carried the fire through the flood. And now, the same heaven that once hid you is ready to reveal you refined, radiant, restored. As this chapter closes, carry these affirmations in your spirit. Whisper them in the morning. Declare them when doubt tries to return. Let them be your shield and your song. 1. I am walking in divine timing, and nothing can delay what God has ordained for me. 2. I am surrounded by supernatural protection and guided by sacred purpose. 3. Everything that was lost is being restored in perfect form, multiplied and made whole. 4. My life is the evidence of God's faithfulness. I am living prophecy. Say them until your bones believe them, because every word you speak from faith rewrites the atmosphere around you. You are not speaking into emptiness, you are activating eternity. The unseen responds when you align your sound with truth. Now lift your heart, not your hands. Feel the warmth rising through your chest. That's peace returning to its rightful throne inside you. The war is over. The striving can cease. You've proven that love is stronger than betrayal, faith is louder than fear, and purpose is more enduring than pain. And so now, receive this blessing. May the path before you glow with divine order. May the same light that called you out of the shadows continue to guide every step you take. May your family witness not just your rise, but their own awakening through you. May every closed door that once rejected you become a window of revelation. May your heart stay soft even as your spirit grows strong. May the lessons of your wilderness remain the foundation of your wisdom. You are stepping into a future already written in gold. Heaven is not testing you anymore. Heaven is trusting you. That is the highest honor. Walk with quiet confidence. Carry peace like armor. Smile at the unfolding, because everything that once wounded you now works for you. This isn't just your comeback, this is God's completion. And as you go, remember, you are not rising alone. You are rising as evidence. You've crossed the line between promise and proof. Now walk in it, shine in it, live in it, because the prophecy is fulfilled.